this could take me, I mean, I could get a job right away, but I had applied to a decent amount of roles and I was getting that automatic, oh, sorry to hear that you're not going to move forward. We're not going forward with your application. I'm like, oh gosh, I do not have the capacity or the patience for this. So I ended up uh, going with the mentorship program.
My name is Khizer. This is 𝘁𝗵𝗶𝗀, where we feature ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Today, I have Lauren here with me, who works with me actually at Deel in the mid-market segment as an SDR. Over to you, Lauren. How about you quickly introduce yourself to us?
Hello, I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me. I am Lauren. I am, yes, an SDR at Deel, and I have come from the real estate and online business coaching space, and I'm excited to chat.
Sounds good. So, getting right into it, Lauren, and to be honest with you, I think everyone who joined with me, who joined Deel with me, and even people who've been here since quite some time, are familiar with you because you're always there on the leaderboard and always sharing valuable tips on best practices. So how do you do what you do? How do you ensure that you set yourself up for success at Deal?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. I always say that like every role that I've had, this is actually my first official corporate role. I've always had my own business prior to this, and everything that I do, I just give 110% to. And it's not that I don't have to work for it, but it's just something that's like in my blood. I just, everything I do, I just give it my all. And a lot of conversations I've been having, it's like, oh, how are you doing this? How are you getting this amount of meetings? And, obviously you can chalk it up to strategy and there are certain things, but at the end of the day, it's just working and getting in the reps. And I think when I first started, I did a lot of what you were doing, right? Like talking to top reps, seeing what they had to say, seeing how they were winning. And one of the biggest things is putting in the reps before you're ready. So doing the uncomfortable things, especially like cold calling, I had never really cold called before. I had maybe done a few for real estate, but not to the extent of making, 50 to 150 dials in a single day. And that was really scary for me. I remember my first cold call, I was like trembling, like, oh my God, what is going to happen here? And, after a while, you just realize it's another person on the other side of the phone. And if I just kept telling myself I'm not ready, and I didn't just dive into it, I wouldn't have gotten those reps in early, and I would have been a heck of a way far behind just because I didn't just trust myself and jump right in. And over all of these roles and all of these things that I've done time and time again, it's just shown that when you put yourself in that uncomfortable situation, like it's that much faster that you're going to get comfortable, right? So I'm like, I would rather feel the discomfort early on, knowing that I'm going to get comfortable a heck of a lot quicker. And I think that has been one of the best things for me in seeing success in this role early on.
That's amazing. So one thing that I really like is, and something that I apply to myself as well, is number one, putting yourself out there. I think that's, when you put yourself out there, half the battle is already won. And the other thing you mentioned is being uncomfortable, but doing it anyway. So it's not like, people who are like always on the leaderboard, they're always, the most confident, or they have like this magic spell that works every time. But the fact of the matter is they keep on going. And one thing that I always, another thing that I practice is, if I need to get good at something, I need to be bad at it first. And how can I be bad if I don't do it at all? So when I start doing it, I'll be bad, but then I'll get good. And then with practice and, applying what I'm learning over time, eventually I'll get great. So thanks for sharing that insight with us here. You did mention, Lauren, that you transitioned from real estate into now selling software, making cold calls. You're selling HRIS, payroll. So the next question is two-part actually. Like, how has that transition been for you? And the other part is I come across, people who are hesitant in changing industries. So what advice do you have for them?
Yeah, I love that question. I mean, kind of relating to just throwing myself into things. I think that there's this misinterpretation that not that you'll never figure things out, but I think that there's this idea that you're going to have this arrival in life and you're going to feel 100% confident, like I've arrived in this place and I I'm meant to be here, right? Like not to say that I don't feel I'm meant to be where I am, but you're always going to strive for more. So I just continue to iterate what I'm doing and be okay with the fact that like I don't know that I'm ever going to have this arrival, right? Like so when I first started my online business, I was like, I'm going to do this forever. I've found my thing. And when I started to feel like, oh, I'm a little bit capped here, like I feel like I've learned what I needed to learn. I feel like I've transcended a lot of these conversations and it was uncomfortable again. So I was like, I need to move somewhere where I need to be uncomfortable again in order to grow further. So that's when I started dipping my toe into real estate and I was like, okay, this is going to be my next thing. I was so excited. Went into it full force. And I was like, the first few months of it, I was like, oh gosh, I do not like this as much as I thought I would. I'm a very big lifestyle person. Like, I will work my butt off, but I need my downtime. And I very quickly learned that real estate is 24/7, 365. And I actually originally got into it because I was like, oh, I want to do some investing. And I had come across a mentor who was like, why don't you just get your license? So kind of fell into it. And it was an opportunity that I didn't want to pass up. And I would have regretted it if I didn't test it out. So I tried it out and I'm proud of myself for doing that. And it's great to have on the side now. And I can kind of pick and choose the deals that I want to do. And otherwise, I can refer it out. And it's nice now too, because if I ever buy another house, we get that 2.5% off the purchase price, which can be a nice chunk of change. So again, I'm happy that I did it, but it really helped. I always say too, like every move will dictate your next move. So if you're going to sit there and you're going to say, oh, I don't know what I should do. I don't know if I should do this. I don't know if I should do that. It's like, even if you do that next thing for 2 or 3 months, chances are the people that you're going to meet there are going to dictate the people that you're going to meet, the experiences that you have are going to dictate the next thing that you do, right? So I got into real estate and I was like, I need to start networking out in the world. I need to start meeting people. Like I am constantly like I had an online business. I have an online business. It's all online, it's all virtual. So I joined my gym and I have a friend that she's high up at a company and she really inspired me. And I was like, I kind of like the idea of getting into some form of sales and having a corporate job and like every single one of those moves, everything that I did, every experience I had is now where I'm at today. So that whole transition has been over the past like year or so, I feel like it wasn't just like one day I woke up, oh, I'm gonna get into software sales and that's it, right? Like it's been such an involvement over time and it's been great. I feel like I have really found something that does allow me that lifestyle balance, but really feeds the like hunger in me. I am definitely a numbers driven person. I'm a metrics driven person. So it's been really nice to see the quick wins that you're able to see in the SDR world. That's something else that's different in real estate is like quick wins don't really exist. The deals can take a long time. And you're not getting paid anything until that deal goes through. So having a base salary can also be a perk. I've only been in 100% commission-based roles. So I think all of that experience, though, has really helped me with the resilience that you do still need in a role like SDR or just in software sales in general.
Got it. I'm not sure if you can see this, but every move dictates your next move. Golden nugget from Lauren that I've
I
saved here with me. That's very nice. That's a
love
great
it.
learning to have. Now, Lauren, when you finally decided that, okay, 9 to 5 is something that I can do, how did you come across Deel and sort of what prompted interest in Deel as an employer?
Yeah, that's a great question too. I don't know if we've ever talked about this, but I actually hired a mentorship company. So again, having my own business, I've always hired mentors. It's just been something I've always really, really valued. I really value time. I really value efficiency. And I think life is too short to like be wasting any sort of time. So I'm like, I can either sit here, have no experience in software, have no experience in corporate any type. Obviously, I was able to leverage the skills that I had and attribute building a business to sales, but I didn't have any true sales experience of what someone in a hiring role would necessarily see as like she's been in sales, right? I had 3 months of real estate sales experience. And I think that I totally just lost my train of thought. What was the original question?
I think it was around what prompted interest in Deel as
Oh,
an
yes.
employer.
Yeah, thank you. So I didn't want to waste any time and I came across like an influencer on TikTok, like a tech sales influencer, and he kept talking about this mentorship program. And I'm like, gosh, okay, like let me check it out. I like did a discovery call with them. I wasn't convinced right away. And then I sat with it. I thought about it over the weekend and I was trying to justify it to myself. And I was like, all right, yeah, without this experience, this could take me, I mean, I could get a job right away, but I had applied to a decent amount of roles and I was getting that automatic, oh, sorry to hear that you're not going to move forward. We're not going forward with your application. And I'm like, oh gosh, I do not have the capacity or the patience for this. So I ended up uh, going with the mentorship program. And I was like, I could sit here for 6 months and make zero income for a job, or I could, you know, pay this mentorship program and make my money back in a month once I start having a salary. And so that's what I did. And I ended up getting 4 separate offers within 2 weeks. And I mean, even within even just like the experience that I had with the mentorship program was really great because I learned how to interview properly, like skills that I'll take with me beyond just this role. So they gave me kind of like a list of, they helped me evaluate different companies. They helped me see, because I knew nothing about software sales. I was just like, I keep hearing this tech sales thing and I want to be a part of it. And I love tech. I've used tech in all of my businesses. I know it's a really fast growing industry and I want to be part of these fast growing industries with all of these really intelligent people that are clearly building these companies. So they showed me how to evaluate like a Series A company and do they have funding and how quickly are they growing and versus like a total startup. And yeah, so they sent me a bunch of companies. I applied to a bunch of them. We worked on my interviews and I got those offers. And then I was evaluating those different offers. I mean, the SDR role for the most part, like OTE was similar um, amongst the roles. But I had been speaking with a friend and I was like, how the heck do I know which one to choose? And he's actually an account executive at a big software company. And he was like, if I were you, and this was like some of the best advice that I had gotten, and he doesn't even know. He doesn't even know that I think this, but he was like, if I were you, I would go to a company like Deel. I keep seeing them all over LinkedIn, like they're clearly doing something right and I would learn the inner workings. I would see what they're doing. I would, you know, get in front of these people and network and build relationships and really grow your knowledge of the space. And then, 10, 20 years down the line, you can go to a startup and you can know what to do in a chaotic startup environment where there's no structure. But from being a full-time entrepreneur, I was like, I want a little structure right now. I don't want to have that chaos because that's what I see every single day, right? I'm constant, not that you don't have to think for yourself, but I'm constantly only thinking for myself in my other businesses. So that's how I ultimately went with Deel.
Got it. That's super interesting. Let me go ahead and say this. in a time where people are barely getting interviews, you got four offers. Is that what you said? So,
Yep.
wow, that is amazing. Seems like this mentorship company, they really know what they're all about. And do you want to give them a shout or do you want to gatekeep this?
Yeah. Yeah, they're called tech sales mentors. And the owner, I believe he used to be an enterprise account executive at HubSpot. And then he started this company, uh, and they have some great mentors that are meeting with you, helping you with your interviews. They're really, really awesome. And I will not lie, I am hard to impress. And I told them that. And I was like, I didn't have one bad thing to say. They were incredible.
Seems like they truly are amazing. I'll do my own research and then if I find them, I can maybe drop a link down below. Anyone who's looking to enter into tech sales can definitely use their services. I mean, four offers. That's amazing. I'm moving on because you've already mentioned, online business a couple of times here. So this part of the talk is about, shameless advertisement of yourself. So I think a lesser known fact is because we've spoken so much about deal and real estate, a lesser known fact is that you do manage an Instagram on the side as well, where you talk about lifestyle, nutrition, fitness, all of that good stuff. So how did you, end up getting into that specific industry? And how's that going for you?
Yeah, so I have built all of my businesses entirely from Instagram. And I actually started as a dietitian. And when I did my dietetic internship, I quickly saw, I always say it's like so interesting to me that there's no class in college where it's like, all right, if you're going to go be a doctor, this is like, doctor is the only thing that people really know what your day to day is going to look like, right? That's why when you're a kid, everybody's like, I'm going to go be a doctor, right? But other professions, you're never taught about, oh, if you go into software sales, this is what your day to day will look like. If you're a dietitian, this is what your day to day will look like. If you're this type of person, this would be best for you. So, I had just picked the thing that I was passionate about, and I had played sports throughout high school. And I was like, all right, I really like the nutrition side of things. So I'm going to go to school. I'm going to be a dietitian. That's what I'm going to do. So I did my dietetic internship, and I'm like, all right, this is nice, like, but I don't really want to work in a hospital. And that's typically what a lot of dietitians do. And I learned very quickly that I don't do well in environments where things are basically the same every single day. I need like the opportunity to excel. I need to be in a position where it's very clear how I can uh how my growth can accelerate quickly and what that path looks like. And uh like I said, I'm numbers focused, I'm metrics focused, and it took me a while to realize it, but a commission-based or an entrepreneurial type role was what I did really well in. So rather than getting a typical dietitian job, I went and started my own private practice. And that reached six figures in my first full year of business. So I was in that space for about 3 years, I want to say, doing that full time. And then I transitioned to kind of 50-50 business coaching and nutrition coaching. And the nutrition kind of phased out a little bit. I was a little bit burnt out of it was in the eating disorder space, so it can be taxing. And I just really found this love for the business strategy side of things. So I was like, all right, let's launch my first program. And I was kind of doing some reflection, and I'm like, all right, the way that I've had all of this success was entirely from understanding Instagram marketing and pitching my programs through Instagram stories and my messaging online. So I started teaching that, and that was my first program. It was called the Instagram Reboot. And I was teaching people how to create content that would sell and that would sell their programs without any like sleazy tactics. And that went really well. And yeah, between the business coaching and the nutrition coaching, it's turned into a multi six-figure business. And I have the business coaching Instagram, and then the bigger Instagram is my nutrition one. So it used to be a lot of like dietitian, eating disorder kind of support. And now it's more of a lifestyle, just kind of a fun account to have. And I think that people are always like, oh my gosh, how'd you get, 30,000 followers? And it's another, like, I always say luck is when opportunity meets hard work, right? And I had an opportunity when Reels came out on Instagram. And again, it was one of those situations where people were like, oh God, what do I do? What do I say? And I'm like, I don't give a shit. I know that I'm just going to throw myself into this because this is a great opportunity. I don't know what's going to happen, but nothing bad can come of this, right? Like, worst comes to worst, and make a fool of myself and whatever, like, I'll get over it. And that's when my account blew up because I optimized my reels at a really great time. And now it's great because I don't do it a ton anymore, but I can work with brands. I can have, passive income from the courses that I create and whatnot. So it's been a cool experience as it's just evolved over the years and um, given me some really good skills.
Thank you for sharing all that great information.
Of
Luck
course.
is opportunity plus hard work. Another great
Yeah.
one. But
Yeah.
I clearly remember, when I was fairly new to Deal and we were having those uh 15-minute intro chats with everyone on the team. I think we just had a brief conversation and I was like, I need to get you on this series because you're not just winning, you're winning on multiple fronts. So absolutely love the conversation that we were able to have today. And here's a manifestation moment right now because I do know that when I put this up, when I upload this video, there's going to be a lot of new joiners at Deal and maybe at other companies as well who wanna come to you and be like, Lauren, how do you do what you do? So what's the best platform to reach out to you and what's the best way to get a response out of you?
Yeah. Um, I'm big on LinkedIn now, so feel free to shoot me a connection on LinkedIn. I'm pretty good with uh responding on there. I also really appreciate a well thought out outreach. I had someone recently reach out about a job at Deel, and he did the most in a really thoughtful way. And he sent me a cold email with a video in it. And uh, I had responded to that, but he was planning on cold calling me, which I just thought was super cool. Versus people that are like, hey, want a job at Deel, how do I get in? And I'm like, you're not standing out, like um we've all put in hard work to get here, and I think getting creative can be a really important skill that people forget about. Not to say you can just message me on LinkedIn. I'm just saying like that was a cool example to see from someone. And you can also message me on Instagram at my Low and Lemons account. I am good at responding there as well, but those are probably the two best places to reach me.
Got it. And I can always, put those links in description as well so people can reach out to you. And super important thing you mentioned here, people don't make that effort to stand out and it doesn't really take much. I mean, you're applying for an SDR role, you have to make cold calls. Why aren't you making cold calls to the SDR manager or the recruiter? I mean, it's
Right.
that simple. Yeah,
Yeah. And something too that like you don't know what you don't know. So I thought it was just brilliant that I think he's an SDR at another company, so he kind of knows the deal. I would have had no idea if I was, just coming into the role, but I did a lot of cold emailing in order to get this role at Deel, and I think it's something that what better way to get the job than to embody what you're going to be doing in the job itself.
absolutely. And I have my own story as well, when it comes to creative outreach. I actually, for one of the jobs, uh, I was in the recruitment process. I think I was done with the second round or something like that. I somehow got to know that, the hiring manager, the SDR manager was going to be at this event in Toronto. So I actually made it a point that I am there at the event as well. And then I was like, I'm just networking randomly and I run into her. I'm like, oh, you're here as well. So remember me? Like I did interview with HR at your company and then initiated small conversation. Rest is history. I did end up getting employed at that company. So I mean, there are so many ways to get creative. I don't want to share more of my own story. It'll give stalker vibes. But anyway, uh, absolutely love having this conversation. Lauren, I'm following you closely so I can learn more from your journey here at Deel. For now, I'd say, keep winning and let's see where your next move takes you.
Yes, I love it. Thank you for having me, Khizer.
All right, take care. Bye.